So I'm going to give a brief introduction to our next speaker, who is already set up and already starting some audience interactions. I'd like to welcome Sylvie Le Guyader to the stage. She's from the Karolinska Institute. She's passionate about pedagogy, and I think this is going to be a really interesting talk.
All right, thank you very much, and good job on my name. It's not easy. So my name is Sylvie Le Guyader. So I would like you to take your phones, scan this stuff, and then go to the website. And if you are a little bit lost or you're unsure, you can see that this is the website and the code, and you can see it also at the top of each slide, so you can catch up in case. So let's hope. No, I think I have to do it here. I thought that this thing doesn't work. So what is pedagogy? This is a word that we use a lot in French, but I've heard that it's not used that much in English. So I want to introduce it. The pedagogy is, it's my own word, so it might not be exact, but it's the study of how we learn and why maybe we do not learn, even if sometimes we would like to learn, but it just doesn't work. And it's also the study then, consequently, it's a study of how we should teach effectively. And you see that I wrote capital letters there for effect. It means teaching in such a way that it has some effect on the students. And so now I have a question for you, and you please take your phones, and I would like you to enter a couple of words. And so it's limited to a couple of words. When researchers come to you for training, what do you think their goals are? What do they want from you? You can write on your phones, and then you click submit. And there we go. We have someone who writes very fast. So they want some skills. Wow. Okay. Okay, good. Excellent. So I have to ask you to stop there so we can actually read something. So they want some results, they want some data, maybe they want some knowledge, they would like to get images. So very often they are focused on that. They'd like some instruction, some competence, they want to have access to microscope. And I think that's, I want some nice images as well. They need some assistance. So they're expecting some things from you. And so now meaningful images, so that's what they're focused on. Access to the instrument, that's also something that some of the users are very focused on. They just want to get the bloody microscope. So now I have another question for you. When you are training a user, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve? Click, click, click. Oh, there's a lot of understanding. That's really cool. We'd like to get them some skills, right? So we want to see these skills. We want quality. And yes, we would like reproducibility, for example. We want to give them support. It's difficult to. We want them to learn. You see, there is one, they learn. So we want them to learn. Okay, stop. Thank you. This is so enthusiastic. We would like scientifically relevant data. We would like a knowledge transfer that comes back several times. We want to get rid of them quickly. I love that one. Okay, we want them to use the microscope correctly. Exactly. So that's quite interesting. I'm delighted to see these answers. So as you can see, the goals of the trainer and the trainee are often different, and that creates trouble. So what I'm just going to give you some sort of very simple messages, what I think is crucial when you're designing your training, when you train users, and also when you train trainers. You need to clearly define the goals of the training. Okay? And this is not an easy task. It sounds very easy, but it's difficult. Once you have clearly defined the goals of the training, you need to explain it to the users, and that will align everybody's expectations. And that is really important to avoid disappointment, miscommunication, so we align the expectations of everybody before we start the training, right? And that also has the advantage of clarifying what is not included in a training, which potentially means that the user will have to find another source of, for example, are you in your training, are you going to teach them how to design a microscopy experiment and have a scientific question that is actually answerable by microscopy, or are you not going to do that? And then they have to go back to their boss to say, what exactly in my scientific question? So it clarifies what is included and what is not included, and it aligns everybody's expectations. And pedagogy teaches us that well-defined goals help the students learn. So we all want them to learn. Well, that is one way to do it. And I must say that pedagogy is a field in its own that has been very, very strong in the past 50 years. So there's a lot of things that we have to learn from pedagogy. Okay, another question. So how can you tell if your users have learned what you just taught them? We all want them to learn, right? So how do we know that we have managed? We've said, this is one of our goals, that they learn. How do we know that? We do a survey. We can check their independence, for example. Yes, they can explain. They could even teach others. That is excellent. And now we can evaluate. Yes, we can evaluate them. They have to explain, and they can give us feedback, or we can ask them feedback, and we can see the results. We can see if they get data. We can have quizzes. We can ask them questions, etc. So I mean, let's stop in here because it's really nice to see all these answers. We want to see if they can apply their knowledge, for example, and we can see if they can explain. So that's really excellent to see all these answers. And if the instrument is not broken, oh, let me cry first. No, but this is actually the core of the of what I want to tell you. Is that we have goals which are, we want them to learn, we want reproducible data, and then we over the course of our training, we may end up with delivering a training that is only geared at, let's not break the instrument, okay? And this is when we have a mismatch between what you want at the beginning, what you get at the end, and what the users wanted, and do they get disappointed? And let's align all this. Good, so it is very important to assess the results. When you teach something, you must assess if the learning process has been done. And so it is not a question of delivering information. I've done my job, I've given you all this information, and then it's your responsibility to learn. No, I advocate that as trainers, we are teachers. We have all the tools of teachers, and we also have the responsibility of teachers. When we train people, we must check that they learn. Otherwise, that tells us that our training is not working. And then we have to go back to school and redo the training, right? So understanding is not the same as learning. The people you have who come to your facility, they're clever people. You're going to explain to them all sorts of things. They will understand. You're saying it, you're showing it to them, they will understand, but they're not learning. So that is very different. We must go into the learning process and not just about delivering information. So we need to assess if the users have learned. You must ask them, and this was in the answers, you must ask them to explain to you in their own word, and you must ask them to show you, to demonstrate that they have actually integrated knowledge and they can do it. And so you may notice that all these things are actually actions. So when you define your goals, you know what I spoke about at the beginning, when you define your goals, write them in terms of actions that the students need to do. Yeah, they need to explain something, they need to demonstrate something, they need to acquire an image, something that they actually have to do. It's a verb, right? So for example, after the training, the user should be able to identify and eliminate saturation. Yeah, so you have to define then. So you can announce this as a goal. This is one of my goals. And then you can define all the steps that you will have to do to enable them to do that. And then you test, because they have to identify, they have to show you that they can identify and eliminate. So you design your training to enable the user to perform the goals that are defined as actions that the user will do to show you and to show themselves that they have learned. Now, I have only 2 more, I think, so I'm very quick. Let me know, tell me that. Where did you get your current microscopy knowledge? Where did it come from? So maybe you got an original training at the microscope. That's very possible. Maybe you also learned by doing. Maybe you have read stuff on the internet, you went to YouTube and saw lots of videos, maybe some online courses, or you read some articles. Maybe you went to a conference or a course where they were delivering information to you, showing you things, but they were not assessing if you had learned. So this is this number 4 one. And then the next one is, have you gone to a course where people were actually testing that you were learning, that you had learned at the end? Yeah. And then maybe something else. And then these 3 there, I want to know. So as we can see in here, the highest one is learning by doing. And that, I think, is pretty sad. We're talking about the topic that we are teaching. And most of us, we would just dump at the deep end of the pool, and this is the way we learn how to swim. And then we become teachers with this type of skill. So we must upgrade ourselves with proper education with microscopy. Now, I'm going to go super fast. Please tell me again exactly the same thing, but where your current teaching knowledge comes from. Have you been learning by doing? Have you gone through internet and read books and things about pedagogy and how one designs a course in an efficient way? Have you gone to some workshops or some courses where they were not testing that you were learning? Or have you actually had an education in teaching where you were tested that you were learning, and others? So the others, people who answer others, I want to know. So now we can see the problem. Okay, learning by doing, this is where we are. And then think about it, we are at the highest level of education, and most of us have never had a proper education in microscopy, or very little. I mean, education where your skills are tested. And same thing for teaching. And we are teaching at the highest level of education. Something is wrong. This would never happen at a lower level of education. Nobody would accept this. A teacher that has not had a proper training in their own topic and in teaching. So that has to change. That's my message. Microscopy faculty staff need structured education in microscopy and in pedagogy. And this is the very end. I want to, for people who are interested, you're welcome to look at our paper that has been published this year. And I want to thank some of the reviewers in this room. And so this is this article that summarizes and gives a lot of examples. And the next thing that I want to say is that we have a course. And this is, I want to reach out to all the African people. Our microscopy course is fully online. It's streamed. All the lectures are completely free. You are welcome to just click on the Zoom button and listen to all the lectures. You do not need to register. And we post everything every evening on YouTube. It's subtitled. So please listen to our course, give us some feedback, and hopefully you will enjoy the lectures. Thank you very much.